There is no defined limit of exercise or endurance that the body is incapable of. Forget even highly demanding sports. Look at people whose daily life demands that physical endurance, like take our soldiers in Siachen.
Right.
It's amazing what the body can withstand and they're able to do as part of their job. Body is capable of infinite amount of punishment. But what is good for the body? When we say good, I think what everybody means is, one is being trouble free. You don't want to have an illness. And two is having reasonably good longevity. There, my own feeling is that extreme level of exercise or exertion is not directly correlated with those goals.
Even as kids, we have to encourage reducing screen time, increasing outdoor activities, exposure to sunlight. And of course, as we grow older, now all of us make most of the work, be it not only just computer professionals, but more even if we are working on computers because all our EMRs, everything is there. But the general thing that we tell is to kind of relax your eyes in between, what we call the 20-20-20 rule. That means every 20 minutes, look at an object 20 feet away for 20 seconds.
I am Venki, a working professional in IT as well as an amateur masters athlete and a coach for endurance sports. You are listening to the Working Athlete podcast. Here, I talk to working athletes from all walks of life and experts from various sports to provide you with inspiration, training tips, and lifestyle advice. If this is something that interests you, I have a small request from you. Please subscribe to the channel on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can also let me know what you like and what you would like to listen to more of by commenting in the comment section on YouTube. I promise to do my best to improve with each episode and bring you the best content that helps you and me get better each day. In this episode, I talked to Dr. Shekhar Rao and Dr. Kavitha Rao. Dr. Shekhar and Dr. Kavitha are an inspiring doctor duo who cycle together. Dr. Shekhar is a heart surgeon and Dr. Kavitha is an eye specialist. Both of them were part of the Tour of Nilgiris this year, and I sat down with them on the rest day to talk not only about their cycling journey but also about their specialties of heart health and eye health. I interviewed them one after the other as I had only two microphones, and I'm sharing both the interviews together in this episode to keep them together even here. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. This episode is brought to you by The Bike Affair. If you are in search of a one-stop destination that caters to all your cycling needs, our today's sponsor, The Bike Affair, is the perfect place to check out. I have known the founders of The Bike Affair, Krish and Gokul, personally for nearly 15 years now. In fact, my first century ride was with Krish back in 2008. They are both exceptional human beings and entrepreneurs that believe in providing exceptional service to their customers, and it shows. With over 14 years of experience, the Bike Affair has established itself as a trusted source offering honest advice and exceptional service. They are offering a special treat for the listeners of this podcast. You can enjoy a 10% discount on your first order by using the code BikeyVenki on their website. So if you are in Hyderabad, visit their store in Kondapur, or if you are anywhere else in India, shop online by using the link thebikeaffair.com. I will leave the link in the show notes. Now, enjoy the podcast. Dr. Shekhar, welcome to the Working Athlete podcast.
Thank you.
So, Doctor, the first time I saw you was back in 2014 in Tour of Nilgiris, and it is exactly 10 years now.
10 years.
And here we are sitting in Tour of Nilgiris and talking again. Before we talk about Tour of Nilgiris and all that, when and how did you get into cycling?
Actually, looking back, cycling was always something that was a natural interest for me. Throughout my boyhood, I always cycled to school. and I used to play tennis. So I used to cycle to tennis.
Hmm.
And so wherever I had to go and whatever I had to do, that used to be my mode of transport.
Right.
So I remember in my younger days, in the corner of NR Road in Bangalore near Town Hall, there used to be a Raja Cycle Mart. So in the corner display, there was a BSA Speed King,
Ah,
green and white cycle displayed.
right.
So I had set my heart on it. I must have been less than 10. And I used to ask my father to get it for me. So one day when he actually got it for me, I still remember. I told him, now there's nothing more I need in life. So that was how it was. And then
Are you riding the BSA Speaking now?
No, and unfortunately, I didn't have the wisdom to keep those things.
Right, I know.
I wish I had, because after that I had one of those classic rally cycles.
Hmm.
Would have been nice to have in a small museum of my own.
I know, yeah.
But that was how it started.
Hmm.
Then I used to look for places to go to even on my own. Like Bangalore in those days was very small. So even going to Whitefield was a bit of a picnic,
Hmm.
whether it's Yelahanka or Whitefield.
Right. They're all outside the city.
Yeah, so I used to pack a few sandwiches and water bottle and set off and just ride to some place and come back on a holiday.
Right.
Then, of course, life caught up and we stopped doing those things.
Hmm.
So fast forward almost maybe 45 years. And then all these nice cycles started to become available in Bangalore.
Right.
And we bought a cycle for our son, a Rock Rider, I think we bought when Decathlon started.
Hmm.
Then it was rekindled. I said, now all these nice bikes are here, why don't we also restart? So both my wife Kavitha and me decided to get ourselves a bike and restart. So
Amazing.
that was our second innings.
Which year was this?
This was when our kids left for college, would have been maybe 2000, about maybe 14 years ago.
Hmm. Nice. 2010 type.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice, nice. And how was the riding? How did you get started? What was the riding that you were doing at that time?
So in the beginning, it was just riding a bicycle again, wherever you can, as much as you can.
Hmm.
But then, as I said, the cycles got so much better, and we came to know friends, like you, who set the benchmark on what can be done on a cycle. So we started to look at, how to improve, what more can be done.
Hmm.
And thanks to tours like TFN, before we used to think that we only in some foreign countries we could have some cycling tour and a holiday like that.
Right.
And again, thanks to groups, people like you and groups like this, right in our own state and adjoining places,
Hmm.
things that we would aspire to do and enjoy started to become available.
Correct.
So a combination of the equipment and events became the what should I say, goals to
Right.
strive for.
Hmm.
So then it slowly started to build.
Right. Excellent. Excellent. So how and when, how did you hear about TFN, and what was the experience of training for it, and what is the experience of the tour itself, the
Tour.
first tour?
Yeah, so in the beginning, when we started riding, we used to ride from home, do some kilometers, come back. But the dream was always to go out into the countryside
Hmm.
and do long rides with nature.
Hmm.
So I started to ask some friends, where can we do this?
Hmm.
And then that was how I got introduced through some friends to TFN. And some friends were also conducting another smaller events like this in a small group.
Right.
So that was mainly like in both Nilgiris, Coorg and Chikmagalur.
Right.
So that's how I came to know. And initially it looked too big to sign up for,
Hmm.
wondering whether you'll be able to do it or not.
Correct.
So eventually I said, let's give it a try.
Yeah.
So
Unless you try, you won't know.
you won't know.
Hmm.
But then, it more than fulfilled our aspirations and expectations.
Hmm.
We had the best of nature, the best of friends and people, great examples of athletes, and great organizing team.
Hmm.
So it became a kind of annual event to look forward to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how many TFNs have you been part of ever since?
So I've done, this is my fourth TFN.
Hmm.
So I started in 2014,
Hmm.
then 2017, then 22, and now 24.
22 and now 24. Excellent. So, what are some of the memories from your past tours so far, you would think?
Yeah, so I think the most beautiful part of it is literally flying or floating through the forest scenery,
Right.
either with forest on both sides or plantation on one side. And so it's a very immersive experience that you won't get in a motor vehicle of any kind. And yes, hiking and trekking is one way, but you don't get this speed and cover these distances.
Correct.
And you don't have the privilege of freewheeling. You have to walk all the time.
True.
So here, like for instance, on our day 2 rolling terrain,
Right.
if you have say 2 or 3 millimeter gradual climb,
Yeah.
then you have got a roller coaster going down,
Yeah. Yeah.
and literally 270-degree view of the scenery around you.
Correct. Correct.
And with the cycle not having a sound, like an engine of any kind, you can hear everything around you, like birds and the wind and the sound of water, and the farm animals. I love the encountering the small villages and the farm animals and the local customs and
Yeah.
everything, the sight of flowers, fruits, then all the sacred trees that we rarely get. Here you see like a road lined with banyan tree or number of people trees and lots of small temples tucked away.
True.
So I think it puts you in touch with some kind of deeper aspect of your own reality.
True.
Which is what I look forward to and is very rewarding, I feel. So that is the most favorite.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think there are many other most favorite things. The other thing is company of people of great accomplishment,
Right.
athletes, super athletes, triathlon, racers, and all are so nice that they'll talk to you, give you some tips, tell you about something about their training. And like now, for instance, it was very nice to listen to the India Head Treks talk. You come to know about what is happening, the technology. That's another very interesting, exciting part of it. And places we stay, the food and the daily routine,
Yeah.
you work hard during the day, come back and unwind.
And you get pampered.
So it's a very refreshing experience.
Right. Right. So you have done this tour like 4 times. Do you see what are the differences or similarities you see from, say, the one you've done in 10 years ago to now?
I think it has got better and better over the years in terms of the routes and in terms of the program. And I think the balance between, I should say, serious cycling as a sport and the fun part of it
Right.
Uh,
There is a competitive element to it, but there is also a tour as a tour
yes.
is also there.
Yes.
Like it's not just racing or anything,
Correct.
which can be a little intimidating for people.
Yes.
But if you don't choose to take part in,
Yes.
take it as a competitive thing, you can still, keep riding.
Yes.
You can still stop at various, scenic spots, take pictures, have fun, find local delicacies,
Yes.
all that. We still do that. Right?
Correct. Correct.
Uh.
And the other side, I think in India, we are seeing the impact of having better and better equipment also. Like from the time we started, a bike was like a bike. We didn't even know that there are things called road bikes and mountain bikes and hybrid bikes.
Right.
But now if you see, there are so many fine divisions. There are mainly road bikes that are also gravel bikes, mainly gravel bikes that are also road bikes,
Right.
Gravel racing bikes. And so, but I find that very interesting. So I was just telling my wife that among the bikes we have something akin to the bomber aircraft, that is the Fuel X. And now we have a fighter bomber, which is the gravel bike. So we should also have a fighter aircraft like the Rafale, which is perhaps the Medon or equivalent. So it is like it's just living life in the way you want, and enjoying some nice things.
Right.
It fulfills that part of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
There are so many like delicate changes here and there that makes the riding experience
Yes.
that much slightly different and slightly better in nitty-gritty ways, right?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. Doctor, you by profession you are a heart specialist, right?
Yes.
Um, you know, we talk about cycling or any endurance sport or anything in general, and then there are concerns about heart health and all that, right? There are thought processes. We know that lack of any activity is unhealthy, but doing of things to the extreme also can be problematic. So what is your general take on how to take care of your heart health?
Yeah, this is a very much talked about topic nowadays, particularly in the light of so many recent events. It's a very logical concern
Right.
for people. I think everything is not very clear on what is good and what is harmful.
Right.
But in a nutshell, I think the only thing I can say from what we have experienced and what we have studied, there seems to be no better formula than moderation. See, there is no defined limit of exercise or endurance that the body is incapable of.
Right.
Forget even highly demanding sports. Look at people whose daily life demands that physical endurance, like take our soldiers in Siachen.
Right.
And if you have heard about it or seen some of it, it's amazing what the body can withstand and they're able to do as part of their job.
Right.
So body is capable of infinite amount of punishment. But what is good for the body? When we say good, I think what everybody means is, one is being trouble-free. You don't want to have an illness.
Right.
And two is having reasonably good longevity. I think this is what people are striving for when they look at this.
Correct.
There, my own feeling is that extreme level of exercise or exertion is not directly correlated with those goals. You may have to do that level of exercise for a given purpose. Like say if you are preparing for an Olympic event or you're preparing for some kind of a major sport, you have to do the thing necessary for you to perform better. That is not the same that is going to meet these first two goals.
Right.
Which is not having medical conditions and having the best possible longevity.
Hmm. So what you're saying is, if I'm understanding correctly, being healthy and being fit are two different things.
Little bit.
Little
They're
bit.
almost, they're on parallel tracks,
Hmm.
but it is not, more is not necessarily better
Hmm.
for the normal purpose.
Correct.
So that
That
little
first
distinction is there.
Right.
Yes.
Pursuing an active and fit lifestyle helps the healthy,
Yes.
the goal of staying healthy.
Yes.
And of course, staying healthy and fit are both important.
Correct. Correct.
Right? Health comes first, as I
Yes.
say,
Yes.
and use fitness or your fitness goals to help that process.
Exactly.
If you tend to overdo it, or you are not caring for your health part, obviously there are going to be repercussions
Yes.
over a long period of
Yes.
time. Right.
The challenge actually is to define when you are crossing from optimum to excess.
Right.
That is
So-
not standard for everybody.
Correct.
It depends on your level of conditioning. It depends on your basic constitutional makeup. It depends on your frame of mind. It depends on the regularity of your training.
Right.
It depends on a lot of things. For instance, if you take about the heart itself, I think there is reasonable evidence to show that the heart can actually be damaged by overstress. See, just like the muscles fiber can tear,
Break down.
or they can micro tears happen in the muscle. So the body's way of healing is to bring in some fibrous tissue to repair the damage.
Right.
So some amount of work in the extreme hard stress situations has shown that maybe, again, this is not like absolutely proven, but the heart can be slightly replaced by some fibrous tissue in the body's attempts to maintain the integrity of that structure and strength. That may have some detrimental effect in terms of the functioning of that organ in the very long run, which may need some medication, which may need, which may lead to some kind of reduction in the function,
Right.
opposite of what we are striving to achieve.
Right. So would that be like thickening of heart walls?
Yes.
And stuff like that?
Yeah, it could be like the muscle, which is sort of elastic and stretchable to some healthy extent. If it starts to become stiff because it is being replaced by something of a stiffer nature in the healing process,
Right.
then it's what we call compliance, or its normal elasticity is affected.
Right.
And it has some consequences. So these kind of findings are emerging with so again it comes back to, so how do you prevent that, or how do you know it?
Right.
So it is like going with some guidance and starting at a low or moderate level, building it up gradually,
Right.
and being regular, and not being driven by some kind of non-physiological goals and overdoing it at any stage. You'll have to grow into it rather than force that progress.
Right.
That would be the gradual, graded, and optimum progress.
Right. Right. That perfectly makes sense. As a coach, when we are structuring a plan for anyone, right?
Yeah.
You look at where one is,
Yeah.
right? What is their experience? What is their fitness age? Like how,
Yes.
and then look at what are the goals, and to bridge that gap in a gradual manner.
Yes.
Nothing will happen overnight.
Correct.
And if you are trying something overnight, it is not going to sustain at all.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
First of all, it is difficult to attain, but also it's not sustainable. And as we are seeing more of, it is not very healthy also.
Yes.
Right? Nice. So one of the things that what are the things that in general to take care of heart health? What are the things that you would advise listeners to?
See, I think these are even more than what goes by the modern science. I would say well established wisdom that has stood the test of time is probably the first guidance. We can be aided by technology like scans and things like that, but primarily an overall healthy lifestyle for mind and body is required, because no matter how hard we train and whatever things we eat, if we don't have the right mindset or the internal milieu, it may not give us the necessary results.
Right.
Like for instance, see, the body has a diurnal rhythm of waking, sleeping, and the internal hormonal and endocrine functions also gear up to that.
Right.
So
They align to the the clock, internal clock.
Yeah.
See.
So sometimes I wonder, supposing you suddenly decide to say do very severe exercise late at night, or have a heavy loaded meal sometime at an odd time, it may not necessarily be the best thing for your body.
Correct.
So again here, for various reasons, the same thing will not work for anybody. People may be forced to say go to a gym, at a little later time and all that. But they'll have to work gradually, and it should become a kind of routine. So moderation, regularity, and graded progress.
Yeah.
I think these three would be the main criteria. And a little bit of nowadays, even commonly it is known to do some kind of basic medical screening,
right,
to ensure that you are healthy.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
So what are the screenings that one can do to say, to understand where their, how their heart is in terms of the health of the heart?
Yeah.
And what are the measures or markers that they need to watch out for and take precautions for?
So many things have been like a standard practice in terms of, say, an overall general health checkup. So when it comes to heart specific kind of protocol, people would do an ECG, an echocardiogram, and do some basic blood tests for blood sugar, blood cholesterol, and basic biochemistry for liver and kidney functions and blood. This, I think, will be a kind of baseline to know that. And if there are totally no symptoms and the person doesn't have any strong family history and no risk factors, then this should be okay to say that a person is reasonably good to embark on some program. The next level perhaps would be a treadmill test, because it's like a controlled sort of investigation. And over and above that, now is the CT, cardiac CT, which can non-invisively screen the coronary arteries to see if anybody has any unexpected narrowings. Now, whether everybody should have it on a very regular basis, that's again a highly debated question.
Right.
And it comes up every now and then when there is some incident, untoward incident particularly. But I think world over, it is accepted that not all of these things are preventable and knowable.
Right.
But in the presence of this graded sort of escalation of investigation, if there is any red flag, then one can go to the next level and do this kind of CT also.
In this, graded level, where does calcium score?
So that comes as part of the CT.
Okay.
There is a cardiac, as part of the cardiac CT, the calcium score is also computed.
Okay.
There is an algorithm for that.
Right.
Yes.
And if the calcium score is fine, then you would be okay to kind of pursue those athletic goals and stuff like that. Otherwise, if it what are the markers there to kind of say?
So, see, per se, that is only a sort of predictive risk factor. That is not going to tell you that you should not do this or not do that. Because see that in terms of there is anatomy and there is function. Like you will have people who have got some narrowings in the heart but who have gone on for years and the heart is not damaged.
Right.
Then in some people who don't have anything, whom one incident is very sudden. But this is normally used as a predictive faction, saying that, say, over 10 years, there is this amount of risk that they may be.
Right.
So, more than saying don't do this or don't do that, it is a kind of assistance for you to modify certain risk factors.
Right.
So, that is how it is to be used.
Correct. Because whenever there are incidents around people that we know of, right, there is always panic that sets into the in the community, and there are always discussions that are happening, and obviously concerned family members like are quick to point out, see, this person is very active and it happened to him, and you could be at risk and all that. So we have to realize that some person sitting on a couch is also not doing himself any favors, and he could be dropping dead the next minute, but you are not at a higher risk just by doing these activities. So you have to take all these into consideration, do these graded screenings and stuff, and make sure that you are okay and your loved ones are not overly concerned about thing, and go ahead.
That will be the correct approach. Not depend entirely on this or that,
right,
and not be completely constrained by this or that,
right,
but just use it like it is something like how we commonly also use, like when we have so many tools during coaching, we still give some importance to the how you perceive, how you are feeling.
Yes.
That is also very important.
There is power meter, there is heart rate monitor, there is speed, this, but rate of perceived exertion. How you are feeling at that particular time in those environmental constraints. It could be that you did not sleep well properly before. It could be that you did not hydrate properly. So all those factors affect how you feel, how you perceive the exertion. And that's a very good point, right? So you have to take all these into consideration and move ahead, right? So coming back to again to your cycling journey, what are the biggest rides that you have done?
So I would say that in terms of long rides, single stretch, maybe the 600 Breve as part of the SR series is the longest ones.
Right.
And I had a few failed nearly there rides which are also long, like 400, 500, but we couldn't make it for various reasons. So in terms of a single continuous ride, I have not done more than that. Like 1,000 or 1,200 I have not done.
You have done an SR, which is like 200, 300, 400 and 600 in a season.
Yes.
Right. Nice.
Then we have done some longer group rides, like apart from the tours that we talked about, TFN and the TOK. I also did with a group, we did a ride from west to east, from Kutch to Assam to Guwahati. It was a multi-day cross-country, west to east.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So that was also one of the longer rides.
Was Grini part of the thing? Okay.
Vidya,
nice.
Grini, General Mohan,
okay.
and Sundarajan from Chennai.
Oh, beautiful.
We were all
Great
in
company.
that group. Great company, very
Yeah.
inspiring. And Bhaskar,
Ah,
who was also, at that time one of the stalwarts of PBP.
right.
But the nicest thing is, like I said earlier, all these people were very helpful in bringing us up
Hmm.
in the sport by
Right.
giving tips and suggestions.
Hmm.
That was the greatest experience.
Nice. Which year was this?
This was 2019.
Nice. Just before the pandemic.
Just
and all
before
that.
it. Yes.
This is very good. Are you planning anything, similar, or what are some upcoming things on your plate?
Yeah, I think I have not targeted any such major event. Of course, we also did this Manali to Leh.
Ah, ah, ah,
Uh,
ah.
that was one other sort of long, which was a little tough for us,
Yeah,
but it was experience.
right.
Now I think we are having a chance to come to know, even during lunch today, somebody was pointing out different kinds of tours that are available.
Hmm.
So, we don't have any. Every year we look forward to the TFN
Right.
and maybe something like the TOK,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
year ending,
Yeah, yeah.
because there's a limit on the length of time we can take off also.
Right.
But we look out for the calendar and then
Play something,
yeah,
pick something, and
pick
go.
up something and then plan to do it.
Excellent. Doctor, you have been, a working professional, taking care of so many, people's healths, hearts, and you have been, a working athlete since, yeah, as a doctor and pursuing cycling, right? On with your experience, what are some of the learnings that you would like to share with other fellow working athletes?
I would say that the goal. I keep thinking, what is the real goal? What is the final goal?
Hmm.
Uh, but I think in a way you have to go beyond goals,
Hmm.
because goals come and go, and they will give you some kind of satisfaction, no doubt,
Hmm.
maybe some recognition. But man has lived for centuries, millennia,
Hmm.
and so many lives have come and gone. So that cannot be the end point.
Right.
I think my analysis and conclusion is that what is your constant state of mind?
Hmm.
That is the most important thing. See, even in our Vedantic literature, our saints and seers have pointed out that the ultimate knowledge, the end of knowledge, is to be blissful.
Hmm.
And that happiness is not like a superficial happiness. That means it's not like you laugh at a joke and you're happy for a moment.
Hmm.
It is a sort of, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm anywhere near that goal, but it is only an understanding.
Right.
It is what is described as a sort of unshakable peace
Hmm.
that is there inside you, and which forms a sort of springboard for all your activity.
Hmm.
It is like I was just telling during lunch, during some discussion today, I read this beautiful saying
Hmm.
that in a normal way, you do some action to be happy.
Hmm.
But ultimately, it should be that you do some action because you're happy.
Right.
So, if that is there within you, then from that it spreads to those around you,
Right.
to your immediate family first, then to your friends, then to your larger circle, then to your work environment. So, in other words, like they say, for the greatest of sages, they say their very presence is a blessing for people.
Hmm.
And so I think all our activities, whether it is work or exercise or physical activities, it should be just part of one life. And not that I am X person when I'm working, I'm Y person when I'm leisure, and something else when I'm by myself.
Hmm.
They should be a seamless whole life.
Mm.
So the work and satisfaction also fuels the same thing. The activities also fuel the same thing. And if you are able to genuinely, I mean, not just words, but actually manifest and also spread it to some people around, I think that will be a good life.
Yeah, yeah,
So that is what is the aim.
for sure, for sure. It is the aim, and it is like pursuit of happiness is not the thing. The happiness of the pursuit,
Yes, yes.
right?
Very
Right.
nicely
Yeah.
put. Very nicely put.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Shekhar. It has been a fantastic, experience sitting with you and sharing. Taking. Thank you for taking the time and sharing the experience with the Working Early podcast.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I am greatly honored, and I feel happy to have had this chance, particularly with you.
Thank you.
And I thank our program that has enabled this to happen.
Yeah. Hello, Dr. Kavitha.
Hello, Venki.
Welcome to the Working Early podcast.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Kavitha, you are an eye specialist?
Yes, I'm an ophthalmologist.
Ophthalmologist. Okay, we will touch upon, how to take care of, eye health as athletes and stuff. But let us start by talking about your cycling journey. Okay, then we'll get into eye, eye care and all that.
Yeah.
So how and when did you get started in cycling?
Yeah. You just heard Dr. Shekhar speaking about his passion for cycling, and his childhood days. And as a couple, I think we are extremely fortunate that we shared the same passion.
Hmm.
So even in my childhood, I think cycle has always been my best friend.
Hmm.
Every time I come back from school, I just get onto the cycle and just go up and down one road in Mysore. My mom used to be baffled, what do you do? But the joy of, and go to the library, get a book, go to friend's house, gradually go to college, tuitions, everything would be on a cycle. I had a Hero and then a BSA
Hmm.
SLR cycle. And of course, medical profession, family, everything was took priority.
Hmm.
And then when our younger son went to college, Shekhar got us both our first mountain bikes. And it was such a blissful thing to, get back the childhood feeling.
Right. Yeah.
So we started with small rounds. I remember we used to go round the city to see the sunrise in Alsur Lake or, something like that.
Right.
Small rides.
Hmm.
And gradually, we kind of increased it. But he was much more into it.
Hmm.
And I had more responsibilities at that time,
Hmm.
children, and of course, home and work and everything.
Hmm.
And he would go on these long tours, and then he would come back and tell me, this, it was so
The stories.
nice stories, and he would show me some photographs of how it would be going through the jungle roads and everything.
Right.
Initially, I think all ladies have a little bit of hesitation.
Hmm.
Will I be able to do it? Or, oh, I don't like to be outside for so long.
Hmm.
But I think it's so good to get out of that.
Hmm.
And, then I started seeing the benefits of all these, what he would do, and slowly started joining him on all these tours.
Hmm.
And I'm thoroughly enjoying it now.
Nice, nice. So when was this? Which year was this? When you got started?
I think 2015 was the time Shekhar got me my first road bike.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a couple of, smaller multi-day tours.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2020, we actually kind of started training a little more seriously.
Right.
We wanted to up our game a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
and, be able to do.
Correct.
Because when you have to go out there and enjoy the countryside, you should also be able to do it.
Right.
So I think 2020, we really got a little serious.
Mm.
And then we did better. And
Nice, nice.
yeah.
And you have done, brevets, longer rides, and you have also completed a super randonneur.
Yes, we did it
Right.
together in 2023.
Nice,
We
nice. So what was the experience of preparing for it? What are some of the things that you found challenging?
Yeah, brevets are very unique in their own way. Kind
Mhm.
of makes you tough inside out,
Mhm.
both in body and mind.
Mhm.
So there's always that hesitation. It's an unsupported and all that, but somehow you get out there and do it.
Mhm.
I think I remember a couple of times it was raining to start with, and a lot of people who signed up just said no.
Mhm.
But we went ahead. We rode in the rain and finished it. Somehow all these things, very hard things, I think builds a character and builds some kind of a toughness inside you.
Mhm.
And then you stop complaining about
Right.
things
Yeah.
and actually start enjoying seeing the positives about everything.
Mhm.
And the routes sometimes are very interesting on these brevets.
Mhm.
You get to see some nice places, and then you also have a little bit of this time limit also,
Right.
which builds a little discipline
Mhm.
on where you stop and how much you should, it's like an organization in your mind.
Right.
So I think it's overall very nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Nice.
Yeah.
And you were part of Tour of Nilgiris
Hmm.
in 2022,
Yeah.
right? That was your first
First.
TFN.
Yeah.
So, what was the experience of your first tour? What did you find? What was what was your experience? with the
Yeah, I mean, I think 2022 TFN was obviously the first hardest tour I did,
tour? Mhm.
but I really enjoyed it.
Right.
There were times when I complained and said I'll never come back,
Mhm.
especially on those climbs. But then, you go back and think you feel so good about it.
Right.
And even, being there in that environment,
Mm.
and he was also saying the pace of the thing to observe the nature
Right.
and just to be able to do it.
Mm.
Sometimes in the medical profession,
Mm.
we see so many times, we feel how grateful we should be that we are able to do this.
Right.
There's so many instances when you may not be able to do it, even if you would like to.
Right.
So just take every opportunity as a blessing and just do it.
Mm.
So that was a very nice thing, and of course, I'm just loving this tour also.
Mm. Nice. What would you say, that distinguishes Tour of Nilgiris as an experience as a whole from others?
It's a very unique tour.
Mm.
I think the whole program is constructed very well,
Mm.
and the routes are beautiful, and it challenges you,
Mm.
and it's a beautiful platform because they are young, racers,
Mm.
and they are elders like us,
Mhm.
all enjoying our tour in our own way.
Right.
And the tour brings out the best in everybody.
Correct.
See, the people who come here to achieve and do their best performance, whereas others who are riding for leisure, you can ride how much you want, you could aim to complete. So everyone gets what they want, and
Right.
it brings out the best in everyone.
Right.
So it's a beautiful platform.
Mm.
Yeah, it's nice.
That is what makes this unique,
Yes.
and the opportunity to meet people like you and Dr. Shekhar. I wouldn't get this opportunity
No.
anywhere else. So I being part of this tour for so many years, I am blessed to meet such diverse people from such diverse backgrounds and get to learn so much from
We are very fortunate also to be with youngsters like you. We feel younger. Yeah.
Right, it is all relative. It is performance is relative, age is relative.
Yes, true.
Whom you call youngsters and versus who you call oldies is all relative.
I think it's lovely that we are all inspiring each other.
Yes, yes.
So nice.
I keep I often keep saying that we are but candles that light each other.
Very
Right?
true.
Right.
And then the candles don't get dim just
Right.
by lighting.
No. So it's just pass on that inspiration. Pass on. You never know what you give to others. So
True.
be kind. To pass on your learnings and keep growing. So,
Nice.
nice, nice. So what are some of the memorable rides that you have done that come to mind?
Yes, this touring inside Karnataka, some places. as part of BMBT, we did some Chikmagalur rides,
Mm.
multi-day tours, and of course, last year we did that Manali to Leh, but of course, I couldn't complete it because of this altitude problem.
Mm.
And but just being there and just going there and seeing those places was
The
awesome.
views and
My God. And also it's a learning how our soldiers are taking care of us. It's we couldn't just go there and exert this much and do, and they are just, there in such harsh climates. I just hats off and big salute to them. It was, each thing teaches you something and you learn to appreciate.
right.
Yeah. So, and of course the SR series and yeah.
Excellent. So, Dr. Kavitha, let us come and talk a little bit about your profession, and let me use this opportunity to share with the listeners and for myself how to take care of our eyes. Right. So we are outside. Let us not even talk about the endurance aspect and what involves and how to take it. In general, how to take care of your eye health.
Let's start from, say, childhood. Like, now we have our children
Right.
and we are so concerned in this digital era. Oh, and now myopia is truly becoming a epidemic, I'm sorry. So, because all the children are so used to this small,
Everything close.
everything close. So, in fact, one of the advices that we give is to let the children go outside, play out in the sunlight, and watch something at a distance. So, it just stresses the importance of outdoor activities
Right.
and being healthy. What we used to do as children.
Right.
So to start with, I think even as kids, we have to encourage, reducing screen time, increasing outdoor activities, and exposure to sunlight and things like that. And of course, as we grow older, now all of us make most of the work, be it not only just computer professionals, but more even if we are working on computers because all our EMRs, everything is there.
Right.
But the general thing that we tell is to kind of relax your eyes in between, what we call the 20-20-20 rule. That means every 20 minutes, look at an object 20 feet away for 20 seconds.
Okay. That's
So
nice.
that's something to relax. Just like we work out and then we come back and stretch the muscles. It's just like stretching the eye muscles.
Okay.
So you're constantly focused on an ear. So you need to stretch in between. So look away from your screen. And for children, one more thing we could say is, especially I think this pandemic time, they were all looking at the phones. So the smaller screen is probably more harmful. So try to get them a bigger screen.
Okay.
If a laptop is better than a phone, or if you could project it on a television and make them sit like a classroom, that's even better.
Okay.
So something like that is good. And of course, our diet and health plays a major role in our eye health.
Okay.
So most of the antioxidants and natural antioxidants, you don't need to keep popping pills for that, but just generally including all the good things. And
Yes. Are there any specific foods or food groups that we need to focus on for eye health?
Yes, of course, all we know as childhood, like all the colored vegetables, carrots and spinach, everything is very good beta carotene. And then we have all the antioxidants now, like flax seeds, something that gives us a lot of and fresh fruits.
Right.
Yeah, all those are loaded. And then there's something called anthocyanins, which are all there in the colored fruits and vegetables. So the more colored your plate is, I think it's good for everything. So for the eyes.
Nice. And are there any specific precautions or things that we need to be concerned about as endurance athletes or athletes in general, that when it comes to eye care and eye health?
I think wearing a good protective, eyewear, even if you have a power now, you have very good protective eyewear with your refractive error included in that. So that's very good. Just to avoid any foreign bodies in the eye and all the things. So that's what you just need to take care of.
Right. Yes, of course. See, one thing that, coming back to your cycling again, thank you for explaining the medical and in general how you can take care of your eye health. And coming to your cycling and the way that both Dr. Shekhar and I have seen you riding. Of course, sometimes on the Kolar Road when we happen to, you come there and ride and all that. A couple of times, I think, when you guys came to meet DP and ride with them and all that. But more so on the tours, right? In 22 as well as this tour. I am super inspired by both of you. The way both of you, it doesn't matter how hard, how long, how difficult, you just keep on going. I never seen either of you complain about anything. If you did, it did not come to me. I was like so inspiring to see. What keeps you going like that?
I think Shekhar has been the greatest inspiration. I have learned so much from him. And I think his state of mind is something which, I'm amazed at myself. So he has really taught, and the way he is, even to see him and follow, even in the most difficult of situations, being a cardiac surgeon, he's so calm. And always, it's okay, it's fine. That the climb is hard. Oh, I can't do it, I'm going to stop. No, it's just a little bit more. Come on. So that's how, slowly he kept. And now I'm seeing the advantage. Now it's growing up on, in me also. So I think he's been the greatest inspiration for me.
No, that is very nice. And, as a working athlete that, you are, and over the years of your experience, what is some of the learnings that you would like to share with fellow working athletes?
Yeah. And more as a woman, I would like to share, especially as ladies approach this premenopausal and menopausal stage, it's so important for us to keep up this kind of regular habit, regular exercise, and it totally improves your frame of mind, because that menopausal time is truly difficult for the body as well as the mind. You go through a lot of turbulent thing. I see my own patients having a lot of issues, and anything in the mind translates into the body also having some issue. So I think keeping up something that you love, any passion. For me, it was cycling. It could be running. It could be anything. But being consistent with it, being regular. It takes a lot of hard work, but then the benefits are profound. So I would just advise, as you're approaching, especially, initial years, you're busy with kids and everything. But as you're reaching 35, 40, you should start something of your own. Keep some passion of your own going, so that you get into the older years in a really good frame of mind, and you start becoming younger.
Right. That is beautiful. Thank you for that piece of advice, and thank you for taking the time and sharing your experience.
Thank you so much, Venki. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That was my conversation with Dr. Shekhar and Dr. Kavitha Rao. I hope you enjoyed that. If you are enjoying these podcasts and are finding them useful, please consider supporting the podcast by subscribing to it on YouTube as well as on your favorite podcasting app. It really helps. Thanks again for your continuous support. See you next week with another guest.